Welcome back to the channel where we uncover hidden treasures, reveal the history behind everyday coins, and help you spot the rare gems that could be sitting in your pocket or coin jar. Right, rarest coins. Today, we're talking about a coin that looks ordinary to most people but could be worth a fortune. It's the 1965 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that most people would use without a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific version of this coin reportedly sold for an astonishing $1.8 million? Yes, a 25-cent piece that turned into a life-changing fortune. So what's the story? What makes the 1965 Washington quarter so special? Why did one example go for nearly $2 million? And how can you tell if the coin in your pocket is one of these ultra-rare and highly valuable versions? Stick around because we're going to break down everything you need to know. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It was originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin, but it was so well received that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter and became the standard design for decades. By 1965, the coin had already been in circulation for more than 30 years. Now, 1965 was a very important year for U.S. coinage. That year marked a major transition in American coin production. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But due to rising silver prices and a growing coin shortage, the U.S. Mint made a big decision. Starting in 1965, quarters would no longer be made with silver. Instead, they switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, which was far cheaper and more durable. That means that if you find a 1965 quarter today, it should be made of clad metal, not silver. And for the most part, that's exactly what happened. Millions of these coins were produced. In fact, the mint struck over 1.8 billion Washington quarters in 1965 alone. That makes it one of the most common dates for quarters in U.S. history. So how can a coin that's so common be worth anything close to $1.8 million? Here's where things get interesting. During the transition from silver to clad coinage, the U.S. Mint was still using leftover silver planchets to strike coins. A planchet is the blank metal disc used to make a coin. Somehow, a few 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on 90% silver planchets left over from 1964. This error was not intentional, and only a handful of these silver 1965 quarters are known to exist today. This is what collectors call a transitional error. It's when a coin is struck with the wrong metal for its date. Because silver quarters were supposed to end in 1964, a 1965 quarter made from silver is incredibly rare. And because the mint was under pressure to produce millions of coins quickly, quality control wasn't always perfect. That's how these errors slipped through. One of these rare silver 1965 quarters, struck on a 1964 silver planchet, was discovered in pristine mint condition. And because of its rarity, its historical importance, and its flawless quality, it sold at a private auction for an eye-popping $1.8 million. It wasn't just about the error. It was the condition, the timing, and the demand from top collectors around the world. And just like that, a small coin became a massive payday. Now the big question is, how do you know if your 1965 quarter is one of the rare silver ones? There are a few simple ways to check. First, check the edge of the coin. Clad quarters have a visible copper stripe running through the edge. Silver quarters do not. They are solid silver all the way through, so the edge will look clean and consistent. That's your first clue. Second, weigh the coin. A standard 1965 clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. But a silver quarter from 1964 weighs around 6.25 grams. That's a noticeable difference if you use a precise digital scale. If your 1965 quarter weighs over 6 grams, there's a good chance you've got something special. Third, listen to the sound. Silver coins make a distinct high-pitched ringing sound when dropped gently on a hard surface, while clad coins sound duller. It's not the most accurate method, but longtime collectors swear by it as a quick test. And finally, if you suspect you found a silver 1965 quarter, the best thing you can do is get it professionally authenticated. Companies like PCGS and NGC can verify whether your coin is made of silver, check for any additional errors, and assign it a grade based on its condition. This grading is essential if you want to sell the coin at a premium. Keep in mind that not all 1965 quarters are valuable, even if they're in good shape. Millions were made, and the majority are worth their face value. But if you find one struck on a silver planchet or with a minting error, especially in uncirculated or mint state condition, you could be looking at hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars. So what can you do today? Check your pocket change. Go through your old coin jars. Look at those rolls of quarters sitting in drawers or inherited from a grandparent. Pay close attention to those 1965 quarters. Use a magnifying glass, a scale, and a flashlight. You never know what you might find. And remember, the next million-dollar discovery could be sitting right in your home. Let's recap. In 1965, the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in quarters and switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. But a few quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets intended for 1964 coins. These rare transitional error coins are incredibly valuable. One of them, in near-perfect condition, sold for an unbelievable $1.8 million. And while the odds of finding one are slim, it's not impossible. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. It's history, mystery, and discovery all rolled into one. And the best part? Anyone can participate. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to be curious and pay attention. Thanks for watching today's deep dive into the 1965 Washington quarter and the million-dollar mystery behind it. If you learned something new, hit that like button. If you love coins and hidden treasures, be sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss future videos. And if you think you might have a rare coin, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep looking, keep learning, and as always, happy collecting. Would you like me to turn this into a blog post or convert it into a shorter version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts? Let me know how you'd like to use it further. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the untold stories behind the money in your pocket. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin that you might think is just ordinary at first glance. It's the 1995 Washington quarter dollar. But what if I told you that this very coin, one that millions of people have used to buy a soda or pay a parking meter, has a version that sold for an unbelievable $1.20 million? Yes, you heard that right. $1.25 in face value, but worth over $1 million to the right collector. So what makes this coin so incredibly valuable? Is it the year, the mint, an error, or something else entirely? Let's explore the full story of the 1995 Washington quarter, from its history and minting to how you can identify the rare version and maybe, just maybe, strike gold in your own collection. Let's begin with a little history. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932. It was originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, but it became so popular that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter and continued to be minted year after year. The design on the obverse side features a portrait of George Washington, based on a bust created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. On the reverse, you'll find an eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, a symbol of strength and readiness for battle, surrounded by olive branches symbolizing peace. Now, fast forward to 1995. That year, millions of quarters were minted across the United States, and the Denver Mint was one of the main producers. The coins struck there have a small D mint mark on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. For most people, a 1995 D quarter is nothing more than pocket change. But for a lucky few, it could be something much more. Where does this massive value come from? To understand that, we need to talk about mint errors. Mint errors occur during the production process when something goes wrong. Maybe a die is misaligned, or a planchet is flawed, or the coin is struck multiple times. Some of these errors are small and relatively common. Others, however, are so rare and so dramatic that they become instantly collectible. The 1995 Washington quarter has one such error known as the double die obverse, or DDO. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is engraved twice with a misalignment. The result is a coin that appears to have doubled images, usually seen in the lettering or the date. On the 1995 D quarter, this doubling is most visible in the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The letters look slightly shadowed or echoed, as if someone printed them twice. Now, here's where things get interesting. Most of the double die quarters from 1995 are from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a P, but very few have been found from the Denver Mint. Those that have surfaced are considered ultra-rare. And as any collector knows, rarity drives value. Point one such coin, a pristine 1995 D Washington quarter with the double die obverse error, graded in mint state condition, was sold through a private sale and made headlines for fetching a staggering price, up to $1.2 million. That price was a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand, all lining up perfectly to create one of the most valuable modern quarters in existence. So, what should you be looking for? First, find a 1995 D quarter. Check for the D mint mark, which will be just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Then, under bright light or using a magnifying glass, examine the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Look for doubling, lines that appear shadowed or thicker than usual. If you see anything suspicious, your next step is to have the coin evaluated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm whether it's a legitimate double die error and assign a grade that reflects its condition. Now, don't get discouraged if your coin isn't worth $1 million. Even lower grade error coins can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on their visibility and condition. And if your quarter doesn't have the error at all, it might still be worth more than face value if it's in perfect uncirculated condition. Some standard 1995 D quarters in mint state 67 or higher can fetch $20 to $50 or more just for being exceptionally well preserved. So, how do you make sure your coins are stored and preserved properly? First, avoid touching the surfaces with your bare fingers. Use soft gloves and place the coin in a coin holder or a plastic flip to prevent scratches. Never clean the coin, as this can reduce its value. If you believe you have something rare, it's always worth getting a second opinion from a professional. Collectors today are scouring pocket change, old coin jars, and inherited collections in hopes of finding these hidden treasures. And thanks to the internet, it's easier than ever to research, grade, and sell coins online through auction sites or coin forums. If you think you've got a rare coin, there's never been a better time to find out. So, let's recap. The 1995 D Washington quarter is a common coin with an uncommon story. While millions were minted, a tiny number of them have a special minting error called the double die obverse. These rare error coins are highly valuable, and one of them reportedly sold for as much as $1.2 million. If you have one of these coins in excellent condition with the right error, you could be holding onto a life-changing piece of American history. Thank you for watching and being part of this amazing numismatic journey. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest coin discoveries, collecting tips, and treasure hunting stories. If you've ever found a rare coin or think you might have one now, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, happy collecting and keep checking your change. You never know what's hiding right under your nose. Would you like a shorter version for a YouTube short or TikTok style reel? Or maybe a script with dramatic storytelling or more visuals incorporated? Let me know and I can customize it further. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden history and real value behind everyday coins. Today, we're talking about a coin that millions of people have used without ever realizing its potential worth. The 1979 D Washington quarter dollar. A simple, common-looking coin. Yet one specific version of this quarter reportedly sold for an unbelievable $1.3 million. That's right. A 25-cent coin, struck in 1979 at the Denver Mint, turning into a life-changing payday for one lucky collector. So what makes this coin so special? Why did one example reach such an extraordinary value? And how can you tell if you're holding on to one of the rarest quarters in American coin history? Let's take a closer look at the full story behind the 1979 D Washington quarter. Let's start with a little background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Its classic design features the profile of Washington on the obverse side, created by sculptor John Flanagan. For decades, the design remained mostly unchanged, and by the late 1970s, the Washington quarter was a well-established part of American coinage. Now let's focus on the year 1979. This was a transitional time in U.S. coin production. While the Washington quarter itself hadn't changed significantly, the U.S. Mint was preparing for changes in other denominations, like the introduction of the Susan B. Anthony dollar. It was also a period when minting technology was evolving, And with high-speed production came the occasional mistake. In 1979, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters. These coins can be identified by the small D mint mark located on the obverse side, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Most of these quarters were struck properly and went into circulation, but a small number of them featured unusual characteristics that transformed them into highly valuable collector's items. One of the most significant and mysterious examples of this is the rare error quarter that reportedly sold for $1.3 million. While not officially confirmed by public auction records, this coin is rumored to have been part of a private sale between elite collectors. So what made it worth so much? Let's talk about the possible factors behind this coin's incredible value. First and foremost, it's believed that this particular 1979 D quarter was struck on a leftover silver planchet. Now keep in mind, by 1979, quarters were no longer made with silver. The U.S. Mint had switched to a copper-nickel clad composition in 1965. So any quarter from 1979 made from silver is a major minting error. This is what's known as a transitional planchet error. In this case, the coin was mistakenly struck using a silver blank left over from earlier minting processes or from a different coin altogether. Transitional errors like this are extremely rare, and collectors place a very high value on them, especially if they're in excellent condition. Another possibility is that the coin featured a double strike or off-center strike. Both are common mint errors that can dramatically increase a coin's value. Combine that with a high mint state grade, meaning the coin is in nearly perfect condition, and you have a recipe for a multi-million-dollar collectible. So how can you tell if your 1979 D quarter might be one of these rare error coins? There are a few signs to look out for. First, check the edge of the coin. Normal copper-nickel clad quarters will have a visible copper strip running through the edge. A silver coin will have a clean, solid silver-colored edge. If your 1979 D quarter has no copper stripe, it could be a rare silver strike. Second, weigh the coin. A standard clad quarter should weigh around 5.67 grams, but a silver quarter will weigh about 6.25 grams. That difference might seem small, but with a precision scale, you'll notice it immediately. If your coin weighs more than 6 grams, it's definitely worth looking into. Third, check for signs of minting errors. Look closely at the lettering, the date, and the mint mark. Do you see any doubling or shadowing? Are there any strange patterns in the rim or center of the coin? Any unusual texture or surface marks? These could all be clues that your coin was part of a rare error batch, that if you find a 1979 D quarter that looks unusual in any way, the next step is to have it evaluated by a professional grading service. Companies like PCGS or NGC can examine the coin, authenticate any errors, and assign a grade. A coin graded MS65 or higher, especially one with a rare error, can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you happen to own one of the extremely rare versions, possibly even the rumored million-dollar quarter, it could change your life forever. Even without a major error, some 1979 D quarters can still fetch a decent price if they are in pristine, uncirculated condition. A high-grade 1979 D quarter in mint state condition can sell for $50 to $100 or more at auction, simply because collectors are always looking for top-quality examples of every year and mint mark combination. Now let's go back to the mystery of the $1.3 million coin. While exact details are scarce and no official public sale has been documented, the story continues to circulate among collectors. Whether it was a silver planchet error, a double strike, or a previously unknown variety, the fact remains that rare coins like this do exist. And in a world where collectors are willing to pay top dollar for the rarest specimens, a coin like this can command an unbelievable price. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You don't need to be a millionaire to start. You don't need special equipment. All you need is curiosity, a little patience, and the willingness to check your change. Because hidden in that handful of quarters could be a rare piece of American history worth thousands or even millions of dollars. So the next time you get a quarter in change, flip it over. Look for the D mint mark. Check the edge. Weigh it if you can. You might be holding a simple coin, or you might be holding a small fortune. Let's recap. The 1979 D Washington quarter is a common coin in circulation, but a small number of rare error versions have surfaced. The most legendary among them, reportedly struck on a silver planchet, is said to have sold privately for $1.3 million. Even without that rare error, high-grade examples of this coin can still be worth serious money. And the best part is, you never know when or where one might appear. Thanks for watching and joining us on this journey into the fascinating world of rare coins. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into valuable coins, hidden treasures, and collecting tips. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you think you found a rare coin, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep hunting, keep learning, and as always, happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like a version with visual cues or callouts for graphics or animations. I can also format this into a script for voiceover plus on-screen text. Welcome back to the channel, where we explore the hidden stories and incredible values behind everyday coins that could be sitting right in your pocket. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin that many people have handled without thinking twice. The 1986 P. Washington quarter dollar. Just another quarter to most people. But there's more to this coin than meets the eye. One very specific version of this 1986 P quarter is rumored to have sold for an astonishing $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin from 1986, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, potentially worth $1.4 million. So what makes this coin so special? Is it a rare minting error, a hidden variety, or something completely unexpected? Today, we're going to dig deep into the history, production, and mystery behind the 1986 P. Washington quarter and explain exactly how one of these coins reached such a legendary value. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The obverse, or front, features a left-facing portrait of Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. This design remained largely unchanged for decades and was still in use when the 1986 quarters were produced. By the 1980s, the U.S. Mint had moved away from using silver in its regular circulation coins. Since 1965, quarters had been made with a copper-nickel-clad composition, meaning a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. The 1986 Washington quarter follows that format, and millions were produced for everyday use. The 1986 P quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which is indicated by the small letter P on the obverse of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. In total, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 550 million quarters that year. With that many in circulation, it's no surprise that most 1986 P quarters today are worth no more than face value. But here's where the story takes a turn. Among those hundreds of millions of coins, a small number of errors and anomalies occurred. One particular coin, a 1986 P quarter, reportedly sold for $1.4 million in a private transaction. While this sale was not confirmed through a major public auction, it has become a legendary story in the numismatic community. So, what could possibly make this coin worth that kind of money? The answer lies in mint errors, die varieties, and condition. Rare errors can drastically increase a coin's value. In this case, collectors believe the $1 million 1986 P quarter was the result of a striking error or transitional mistake. It's believed that this particular coin was struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, possibly a nickel or even a foreign coin, resulting in a completely unexpected weight, thickness, and metal composition. When something like that happens during production, the coin technically shouldn't exist. And that's exactly what collectors love, coins that defy the norm. A one-of-a-kind or extremely rare error makes that quarter more than just currency. It becomes a historical artifact, a minting mystery, and an ultra-rare collector's prize to make things even more interesting. The legendary $1 million 1986 P quarter was reportedly in near-perfect condition. Graded at MS68 or higher, which stands for mint state, the coin showed virtually no wear, scratches, or flaws. That level of preservation, combined with the error and rarity, helped push its value to astronomical levels. So, how can you tell if your 1986 P quarter is worth a fortune? There are a few key things to look for. First, check the edge of the coin. A normal quarter from this year will have a visible copper-colored core sandwiched between silver-colored layers. If the coin looks solid silver all the way through, it could be struck on the wrong planchet or on a leftover silver blank. That would be a huge clue. Next, weigh the coin. A standard 1986 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If your coin weighs significantly more or less, it might be an error coin. Use a precise digital scale to check this. You should also inspect the coin's surface carefully. Look for signs of doubling in the lettering or date, which could indicate a double die error. Check for off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing or pushed toward the edge. Also, keep an eye out for weak strikes, repunched mint marks, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. If you find something unusual, your next step should be getting the coin professionally graded and authenticated by a service like PCGS or NGC. These companies have expert numismatists who can identify rare errors and assign an official grade. That grade, especially if it's high, will significantly impact your coin's value on the collector's market. Even if your 1986 P quarter doesn't have a dramatic error, it can still be valuable. High-grade examples with no wear, scratches, or blemishes can sell for $30 to $100, sometimes even more if they're perfectly preserved. Collectors are always hunting for the best-looking coins from every year and mint mark. So the big question remains, is there really a 1986 P quarter worth $1.4 million? While there's no official public record of such a sale, the numismatic community has acknowledged the possibility. The story is backed by serious collectors who claim to have seen the coin and confirm that it was privately sold to a high-end investor. Whether fact or legend, the story adds to the intrigue of this seemingly ordinary coin. This is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. You don't need to be a millionaire to find treasure. You don't need to travel the world. Sometimes, all it takes is a good eye, a little knowledge, and the curiosity to look more closely at what's already in your hands. That quarter you got as change at the gas station could be a small fortune just waiting to be discovered. Let's recap. The 1986 P. Washington quarter was minted in Philadelphia, and most of them are common. But one rare version, reportedly struck on the wrong planchet and graded in nearly perfect condition, sold privately for $1.4 million. While that exact coin may be one of a kind, there could be more error coins out there still waiting to be found. And if you take the time to check your change, examine your coins, and understand what to look for, the next rare discovery could be yours. Thank you for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, coin values, and hidden treasures, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and tap the notification bell so you never miss a video. And if you think you found a rare 1986 P quarter or any other valuable coin, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your story and maybe even feature it in a future video. Until next time, keep your eyes open, check your change, and happy collecting. Let me know if you'd like this formatted for a blog post, turned into a short version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts, or tailored to a particular voice or tone. Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the hidden value in everyday coins and reveal the fascinating stories behind the change in your pocket. Today, we're diving into a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but one rare version of it made headlines by selling for a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. That coin is the 1980 P. Washington quarter dollar. That's right. A coin that most people would casually spend without a second thought has a version out there that turned into a fortune for one lucky collector. So what makes this 1980 P quarter so valuable? How can you tell if you might be holding on to one of these rare pieces? And what exactly happened in the minting process that made one of them worth $1.5 million? Stick around, because we're going to break it all down for you. By the end of this video, you'll not only know the story behind this coin, but you'll also know what to look for so you can check your own collection for this incredible rarity. Let's start with some background. The Washington quarter has been a part of American currency since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, and the design by John Flanagan featuring Washington's profile became a timeless classic. This same design continued for decades, including through the 1980s. Now in 1980, the United States Mint was producing quarters in huge numbers. Millions of them were struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Today we're focusing specifically on the 1980 P quarter, which was minted in Philadelphia. You can identify this version by the small letter P on the front of the coin, just next to Washington's hair T, I, B. Why this time? The U.S. Mint had long since stopped using silver in quarters. Since 1965, quarters were made from a copper-nickel clad composition, which is basically a copper core with a thin layer of nickel on the outside. The standard weight of one of these coins is about 5.67 grams, and the edge of the coin will show a thin copper-colored stripe if it's a regular clad version. SOY is the 1980 P quarter, a common coin made of base metal, linked to a price tag of $1.5 million. Well, as with many of these high-value coins, the answer comes down to a rare and unexpected mint error. The specific coin that sold for $1.5 million is believed to have been struck on the wrong planchet. More specifically, it was likely struck on a leftover silver planchet or possibly a foreign coin blank. This kind of error is known as a transitional or planchet error. Let me explain what that means. A planchet is the blank metal disc that is stamped to create a coin. Every denomination has its own specific size, weight, and metal composition. But sometimes, due to human or machine error, the wrong planchet ends up in the coining press. That's when magic can happen for collectors. If a quarter is accidentally struck on a silver planchet that was never intended to be used in that year, it instantly becomes a rare and highly sought-after coin. That's what makes this 1980 P quarter so special. It looks like a regular coin to the untrained eye, but under careful inspection, experts discovered that the planchet it was struck on was not clad, but silver. That makes it an incredibly rare error, and to make it even more impressive, the coin was found in pristine condition. That combination of rarity and flawless quality is what pushed the price to $1.5 million in a private sale between two high-level collectors. So how can you tell if your 1980 P quarter is a rare one? Here are some important things to look for. First, examine the edge of the coin. A typical 1980 quarter will have a visible copper strip on the edge. If the edge looks solid silver and there's no copper color, that's a big clue you might have something special. Second, weigh the coin using a digital scale. A standard 1980 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter will weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That small difference can make a huge difference in value. If your coin weighs more than 6 grams, it's definitely worth a closer look. Next, listen to the sound. Silver coins have a distinct, high-pitched ring when tapped gently against a hard surface. Clad coins have a duller sound. It's not a scientific test, but for seasoned collectors, the sound of silver is unmistakable. Also, look for other minting errors. Doubling in the lettering or date, an off-center strike, or missing design elements can all increase the value of a coin. These errors are sometimes small and hard to notice unless you're really paying attention. So take your time when inspecting your quarters. And finally, if you think you found a 1980 P quarter that might be rare, don't guess. Send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate the coin, verify if it's an error or struck on the wrong planchet, and give it an official grade. A coin that gets a high grade, especially in mint state condition, could be worth hundreds, thousands, or possibly even more. Even if your 1980 P quarter doesn't have a silver planchet, it can still have value if it's in exceptional condition. High-grade, uncirculated examples from this year have sold for up to $50 or even $100 to collectors who want the best possible coin from every year and mint mark. What's the takeaway here? The 1980 P Washington quarter might look like any other quarter, but one rare version of it made history. A coin struck on the wrong metal, preserved in mint state condition, and sold privately for a staggering $1.5 million. And the best part? That coin didn't come out of a vault. It was found in regular circulation. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. The treasures aren't always buried. Sometimes, they're already in your hands. You just have to know what to look for. With a little patience and a good eye, you could be the next person to discover a coin that changes your life. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos about rare coins, valuable finds, and the stories behind the money we use every day. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you've ever come across a strange or valuable coin, share your story in the comments below. You never know, your find might be the next big headline. Until next time, keep looking, keep learning, and as always, happy collecting. If you'd like a version adapted for a blog, a YouTube short, or a visual layout for editing purposes, just let me know.